I know, it was 4 years of this, and so yes, 15 minutes isn't going to kill anybody.
Shall I set the timer?
Set the timer, right. All right. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to serve as mayor and council member of Coalinga. This has been a great and exciting journey that I will never forget. I remember when I first came onto the city council, I was on a mission to find out how to get the city out of debt without having to pay extra taxes. Well, we did slash the debt up to 92%, but I was wrong about the city being able to afford those services without a tax. You see, pretty much every service you have in Coalinga does come off the backs of the residents. The good news is, though, you get to decide what levels of services you want to pay for. Like many, at the time, I thought the city council was corrupt, evil, and even wasting money. How far from the truth that was. I blamed the past council for not making cuts and driving the city into debt from mismanagement. However, once I gained access inside the castle walls, what I learned was farthest from what I once thought. In fact, previous councils did whatever they could to ensure the safety of this town, and for that, I thank them. I want to say that I am proud of this and the past councils for doing the best we could to keep this city afloat and moving forward during the times of recession, the drought, and continuing to find ways to fund services for the residents of this city. Today, I call on the people of this community to step up and take some personal responsibility for the city that you live in. If you think something needs to be done, rather than blame it on 5 people that sit on council, or the school board, or the parks board, or the hospital board, get out there and strive for the change that you want. Yes, change is good, but to replace city managers, police chiefs, and council members because we're unhappy with the results of reality without a plan for success is counterproductive, and we will continue to keep this city behind. The only way this town will succeed is from within. No one from the outside is going to save us. That's a truism. No one's coming to save us. We're 70 miles away from Fresno. We're in the middle of gosh knows anywhere. So we are going to have to work on this ourselves. Our city budget is between 7 and 8 million, and we live in a very remote area that is far away from other things. As far as I can tell, no other towns in the valley that have our population and budget can afford the services that we have in Coalinga, like a fully paid police, fire, and EMS services. The people in this town should be very proud of this city council and the staff for being continued to offer these services through rising costs and our low population. So I would like to start off by thanking my fellow current and past council members for being a family to me. I would also like to thank the department heads and city staff for all the work they have done. Ron Lander. I remember walking into the barber shop and having some amazing conversations with you, and you really offered me some wisdom that helped me to understand the dynamics of this town. I remember one thing you said to me, and I was really rough at the time, so I needed this advice. You said, if you want to stay on council, just keep your mouth shut. As we know, I didn't. I didn't. But that was great advice. Ron Ramsey, the one thing that I remember about you is that you're not afraid. When we did team building, I seen you climb the top of a 40-foot pole and leap onto the cable to the rest of us. That gave me a whole new perspective on you. You're willing to take educated risks and trust your fellow council members. That was amazing to watch. I did not climb the 40-foot pole. Tony Stoltz. We have shared many memories from events like the State of Cannabis and the League of California Cities. I remember when I asked if you were interested in running for council, I seen that you had the ability to bring events and people together like you have done in Relay for Life, Paws of Hope, and many other things that you have done to bring this community together. I sincerely hope you continue to serve the city of Coalinga and bring businesses and events to this town, as I truly believe that you can be a great leader in bringing people to this town to make a big difference in how this town operates. Adam Atkinson, when we first met, it was at the Save Mart parking lot, and you told me that I was insane for helping to bring in the cannabis industry. I did my best to listen to your concerns, because what I realized was that listening to the concerns of the public was my job, and to take the concerns and to mitigate them. You've become a very active member of the city council meetings, and that's when I knew that you really cared. That made me want to support you for this office, and I'm so glad that even that I did not get in, that you did. I remember telling you multiple times that it was more important to me that you get in than myself. You have a great perspective on how I would like to see this city, and that's debt-free. We share many libertarian views, and it was truly amazing that we both supported this tax that passed, setting aside our own moral compass values to help what I truly believe was the best decision moving forward for this city. You will make a difference in this town and follow through with keeping the town out of debt and the revenue high, no pun intended. Robin Scott. When I heard that Robin Scott had applied for the ambassador position for the code enforcement, I was super excited to know a citizen was willing to give up their own personal time to help this city. Robin has been through a lot of scrutiny having to do with code enforcement, and she has put herself out there and has put herself above by continuing down this path of volunteerism. We need more examples of this in our town, and I really want to thank you, Robin, for all that you do. I know it's a hard job, especially not getting paid for what you do. It's very hard, and something we need more of. Now moving on to city staff. Pete, I remember when Pete was hired, the city could not get someone to do the water for the price we could afford to pay. So Marissa had the idea of coming up with a position to hire a public works director that could oversee all of the public works departments. To begin with, Pete was not the most liked person in the city. In fact, his department was kind of unhappy. But the second that I seen that, I knew he was the right person for the job, because he was making people work, and he was making a dent, and he was making changes at the city. And since then, Pete has been a valuable asset to this city, and I know in the future that Pete is going to do whatever is best for this city, and he's going to fix our water problems, he's going to fix our public works issues that we have, and I believe that you are the right person for this job, and I believe that council will continue to support you on these ventures, and for that I thank you. Mercedes. When I first started, I did not know what to think about Mercedes. First I heard of her was at Shift Sector, when Shift Sector, the CEO, called me and said that Mercedes threatened to shut them down. Because people were bringing in outside alcohol. And the second thing that I knew about her was that I was trying to take a picture in my chair, and I tried to get someone in the mayor's chair to take a picture, and she said she was not having it. She said she was guarding those seats. And so when I first met Mercedes, I really didn't know what to think about her. But the more that I grew to know her, what I realized is that Mercedes is a doer, and she's a protector. And she will protect this city, she will protect the city council, and she will protect the interests of Coalinga for as long as she's here. And so I know she's not here tonight, but I'm sure she'll watch this. And I really thank her. Shannon. Shannon is the lifeblood of the city. Everybody needs to be nice to Shannon. Forever.
We know.
Everyone needs to be nice to Shannon. She is the assistant to the city manager, and she will always share a special spot in my heart for being a very compassionate person that always makes it her life's goal to do the right thing. She always is worried that something has gone wrong or that something's not exactly right, when the truth is she's already done it exactly right and she's just trying to do it better. And so I'm a better person for having met you, seriously, and I appreciate that. And I hope that you choose to stay with the city for a long time. The city's a better place because of you. Michael Salvador, what can I say? I take lemons and make lemonade. The Green King of the San Joaquin. That's what his nickname is. You're a perfect fit for our community. You're a very nice guy that I believe has the respect of our community and our community leaders. You have made our new industry safe with your knowledge and wisdom. Nobody else, I think, could have had that perspective and brought that in. You have made our town and our ordinances, nationwide, people talk about the things that we do here in Coalinga. And statewide, they mirror our ordinances on cannabis and how to protect it and how to make it safe. And when people talk about, well, what about all these problems? I can really tell them with 100%, well, go look, talk to our chief. You do it right, you set it up from the gate right, and things are going to work right. And so his deal was, hey, we're going to treat this like a casino, and everyone's going to be a card dealer. And, I really hope that council can figure out how to give this man a giant raise. He is not one of the highest paid people in his profession, and he is one of the best people for our town. And I hope that you're here for the long haul, because there is a big reward here, and I hope that they find a way to give it to you. Dwayne Gabriel, fire chief, and he's not here at the moment, I don't think. Is he? When I first met Dwayne, I thought to myself that he was a nice guy. It wasn't until midterm, when he was appointed as fire chief, that I realized all he does at the fire station to help make sure working conditions and the morale do not tank at our fire department while running on a shoestring budget plagued with overtime. Dwayne will probably be retiring sometime soon, and those are going to be some big boots to fill. Wanda. Wanda is all smiles when we start at the council meeting. She brings a great attitude to the table and is always precise and accurate on the work she does. And I know this because I tried to challenge her one time on her minutes, and she refused to change them. That was interesting. There's not enough time to talk about all the wonderful things that Wanda has done because she's done it for so long. And you have been appointed when other people this seat would have been vacant because no one was running. And so I really want to applaud Wanda, for coming and doing this job, and not even running for it and just being appointed and still being willing to do it. So I really thank you for that and for all the time and effort that you spend on the minutes. And as you can see tonight, she was writing down every single thing that's happening, and she has her own way of doing it. And so, that's going to be hard to find, and we appreciate all the work you've done. Jasmine. I don't even know what to say about you. Except for your hair looks good today. That's an inside joke. Jasmine is one of the crown jewels in Coalinga. She stays behind the scenes a lot, but is one of the finest financial wizards that I've ever come into contact with. Your reputation is impeccable. Your work is amazing, and I am blessed to leave this council knowing that even though we are not out of the woods yet, and that things could very well get worse before they get better, that I know given the opportunity that you will fix the financial crisis at this city. We've had our battles. My favorite time was when I was really frustrated with the budget, and I was very passionate, and Jasmine was very passionate right back. And I told her that that's what I actually respect about her, is that she's passionate, because some people just fold when they meet someone passionate, and Jasmine doesn't fold. She comes right back. And that's when I knew she had character, and that's when I knew I could trust her. Because anyone that just folds in front of me, lots of times I'm talking like out of this direction. So I appreciate it. You are really good at what you do, and the city is blessed to have you. Marissa, I remember when you first agreed to do this job. Yes, she agreed after saying no many times, and countless attempts, but others didn't. We did lots of recruiting, and others just were not a good fit. I remember telling you that if you took the job and stayed for the long run, that you would be able to go anywhere as city manager. That statement is so true. You are what I would call a great CEO of this city. You have not been a micromanager. You've went out and found the best department heads for each position. That has been a game changer for this city. I remember all the times that I called you on Saturdays, Sundays, etc. at all hours of the night and the morning, and we discussed city issues and potential things that could benefit the city. You are a bright, shining star, and even though you might not have an address in Coalinga, I can without a doubt say that you shop locally, you shop in Coalinga, you do your best to help the residents that live here, and I would call you an honorary member of our community with an honorary address of the city of Coalinga. I hope you stay around so at the end that you continue to take my phone calls. Mary Jones. This would not be complete without a personal tribute and shout out to Mary Jones from the Point of Press. You have been integral to the success of this council. I don't think a lot of people realize how important it is for information to be distributed. Without that information to the people, cities do not have an expertise in getting out information. You know, larger cities, they have papers and it's kind of a thing where this is what they do. But our paper folded and Mary jumped in. And there's been a lot of things that have gone back and forth between Mary and the city. Things that have not been nice to her. And things that we haven't wanted to do, but we had to for the success of our city. And it's always opening up another wound talking about that. But you have overcome that. And I think that you have done your best, even though that you're unhappy with some of those situations, that you have been a real gem in helping the city to get the agenda passed for the citizens. And all that you did for Measure J, and all that you've done for all of the different events that happen, for all the things that happen at the library, for all the things that you make it, you know, your personal goal to go out there and report the news. I remember when it was the Coalinga Reporter, and the only thing that was happening was smiley news. A lot of times it was all smiles. I picked up the paper, I'd look for drama, and if there wasn't any, I'd throw it aside. Well, now we got some drama. And that's people need to understand. You have to dig some of these things out. You know, even on council, we know we don't do everything perfect. We don't do everything right. Far from it. Neither do the rest of these agencies. And so the only way people can make good decisions is if they know what they're dealing with, and if they never know because they never have that dirt dug up or they never have that stuff, then it's really hard. And then we have the same, well, when I started council, we had 4 people attending. Now look today, we have a bunch, and it's been like this for quite some time. So I want to thank you, Mary, and I want to say that you've been there to give advice through the thick and thin. You've given ideas, and you've been a great community partner and leader for this town. Please never stop doing what you do. I appreciate it. So this one, Patrick Keogh. Anyone remember this guy? Yeah. I know you're not here in Coalinga. You've moved away, probably frustrated with some of the people in this town, after you did so much to move this town forward with minimal recognition. I just want to say that if you're listening, that you are my roll dog, one of my best friends, my confidant, and you and your wife, Olga, are some of the best assets this city has ever seen. Always keeping a mindful eye on the budgets, looking down the face of scrutiny and not blinking an eye. You have sacrificed so much of your time, effort, and personal finances to make this city succeed. We could never have done any of this without you, and I wish both of you the best of luck. Patrick, amazing person, and he never took credit, and he never wanted to take credit, and he was really shunned by the whole cannabis thing because it was early on, and so when he left council, it was very hard for him to find opportunity, and that really sucks. But I really want to thank Patrick because he really did a lot. And I've sent him pictures and things, and he hasn't responded, which is why I'm saying what I'm saying, because I know that he probably is not feeling in a good place about Coalinga right now. But I wanted to show my gratitude to him for all the things he's done. Steve Rain, a man that once I thought was off his rocker with crazy ideas. I don't know if you guys remember Steve Rain. I once heard Steve say that you could do cannabis that wouldn't even make you high. I think the whole room laughed. I had no clue that was actually the thing. We all had a big laugh, however Steve was right on the button. From what I understand, the dispensary is selling just as many products that don't get you high, like creams, rubs, oils, that are helping people get out of pain, that don't give them any psychoactive effect at all. And Steve was a relentless supporter of bringing in new blood to this council and to keep this town moving forward. In time, I'm guessing we will see more of his once crazy ideas come to fruition. Thank you to Steve Rain for being such a great supporter of this community. Sarah Pruitt. Sarah's a teacher at the Cambridge High School. And what started off as my wife's co-worker has turned into someone that I know myself and the community can trust. She is dedicated to this community, has opened her house up for Community Neighborhood Watch, was a fierce supporter of Measure J, walked the district with me, supporting public safety, and there has been there to bounce ideas back and forth. Thank you so much for what you've done for this community, Sarah. I also want to congratulate you on your new position on the Planning Commission, where I know you will do a great job for this community. Mary Leal. Mary is the Director of Library Services at our Coalinga and Huron Libraries. and has always been there to listen and talk to me off the ledge when I've been super frustrated. She would always say, okay, so I know you're frustrated, but just think about your family and your kids and your community and how they look at your position. She constantly told me, don't respond to negativity. Let them be that way. Show them that you are a better person and to promote the positive. Thanks for Mary for doing that. That really was a big help. And Mary's a great person and she does a lot to help this community at the library. And she has lots of upcoming ideas that everyone's going to see in an amount of time. And she's an amazing person. Planning Commission. I'd like to personally thank current planning commissioners Michelle Helmar, Luis Gonzalez, and Oscar Garza for being rock solid when it comes to cannabis legislation. I would like to thank Josh Saylor and Jim Jacobs for always looking at every aspect of the rules and laws and how it applies to our city to keep our residents safe. I would also like to thank former Commissioner Ken Stoppenbrink for all the work he has done over the past 20, 30 years working to make Coalinga a great place to live. I'd also like to thank Sean. When I started council, me and Patrick nicknamed Sean the No Man. We thought that he would come up with every reason to tell us that we couldn't do this. We broke him of that. We said, hey, we're council, we're in charge. And amazingly enough, Sean is the things that we're doing that are bringing in all of these different businesses. And we are bringing a lot of businesses, and we've already brought in a lot of revenue from the RDA property sales and the sales of Claremont. None of that stuff would be possible without Sean. Sean has went up and above and beyond. He is also talking to some people, and they started a nonprofit where they provide things for people that don't have them, and they give money for scholarships and things like that. The shift sector problem with bringing in beer, Sean and his crew stepped up and they offered a solution where they ran a beer garden so we didn't have those issues. Sean's always willing to step up. I consider Sean a personal friend, and I know that I always like to joke about Sean, but the truth of the matter is that this town would not be in the position it's in, clawing its way out of debt without someone like Sean. I just want to say I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're blessed to have you. I want to thank the cannabis industry. I want to thank the many businesses, CEOs, and staff members and consultants from the industry that have worked hard with this council, myself, and city staff to craft ordinances that will lead to success in the industry and providing jobs and opportunities to years to come. Some of those people, Jackie McGowan from K Street Consulting and her Facebook group providing industry information that's critical for information on keeping updated with laws. This lady lives and breathes laws. That's what she does. And I met her a little bit before I started council, and she's amazing. She has helped this city amazingly just by coming and speaking and telling us what's around the corner in Sacramento. And I've always told people, as a city, you don't want to look at what's in front of you, you want to look at what's around the corner. That's how you get successful. That's where you take a risk. Without a risk, you don't get a gain. Without a gain, you don't become successful. And so Jackie helped us do that, and she's an amazing person for that. Casey Dalton and Kelly Dalton from Ocean Grown Extracts. They were really the first company to see a vision with Coalinga. They've done a lot of help to help the different agencies in Coalinga, never wanting credit for the things they've done. They've given a ton of money to agencies in town and been sworn to secrecy that they don't want anyone to know because they don't want to seem like they're trying to buy a town because that's not their goal. But they said they would be great community partners and they have done that. And tonight, watching the lip sync video, they and their crew completely funded that, and that's amazing. And I want to thank Casey. Her and her crew has done great. Fred Barnum for offering his expertise in construction and building. Chris Macaluso for all that he did with Knox Bronson in creating the community garden and all the hard work he put in attending council meetings to aid in helping craft ordinances that would benefit the city and the industry. Best thing Chris always ever said was, he said, never plan for the marriage, plan for the divorce. Best thing I've ever heard. You never know when that's going to come around, you'll need that. So, thank you, Chris. Michael Jennings and Matt Machado from Next Green Wave. and Matt Machado Construction. They were the first people to purchase RDA land and now have a massive 35,000 square foot facility that is about to become online, creating more jobs and opportunity for our citizens. And this is the smallest of their buildings. And you can see it out there, it's up and running. I mean, they have a big building. They're gonna be creating their own water, and they're gonna be recycling their own water. They have some new technology that is out there that I'm not even allowed to talk about, but it's amazing, and Coalinga is going to be on the forefront, and lucky as, working with these people. They got a lot of money in funding. I think last time I heard it was $27 million in funding, and they're bringing most of it right here to Coalinga. Neil from SCI for offering his advice to the city when it was first getting involved in the cannabis industry, and for keeping a buffer between city council and the industry for compliance. That's important because moving forward, you can see all of these different cities that they got in trouble because their council members had their hands in the cookie jars, making decisions on things and being friends with people, and then compliance and not getting people in trouble and things like that. Well, in Coalinga, what we did was we created subcommittees to deal with that type of thing, so council wasn't the one making the recommendations. We made scoring to make sure that the council was out of that, and then we made buffer zones in compliance, and that's what SCI does, is they sit as a buffer so that if someone gets in trouble, it's not council that's in charge of that, it's SCI making the recommendation to the police chief, and the police deal with that. So that's huge. Ryan Kunzel and Have a Heart Dispensary for taking a chance on Coalinga and making that your California home. This is amazing. I don't know if people know how much money they spent on that building, but they spent a lot of money in a time where they knew that Fresno and the rest of the places were going to turn over as well. So Coalinga started, and everyone said we're crazy. I heard people saying we're going to jail. I heard lots of people say, oh, you guys are going to jail. No one went to jail. In fact, we were first, and we led the state of California before it was even legal. And we've done amazing things here. And Ryan took a chance on that, and I appreciate that. Most importantly though, I want to thank my family. My father for running and winning the city treasurer position and supporting me when I needed ideas and someone to bounce them off. My grandma for having to listen to people in a very conservative Coalinga, ask her questions about what the heck her grandson's doing, while in turn supporting me in some very rocky times in Coalinga history. I don't know if anyone knows my grandma, but longtime member of the Catholic Church, Red Hat Group member, very conservative lady. And to gain her support on a lot of these issues was amazingly interesting. And she took a lot of scrutiny from a lot of people, and so for that, I want to thank her. My kids for understanding when dad can't be at the soccer, baseball, or basketball games or coach because he's doing things for the city that he had chosen obligation. I used to coach all those things, and I could no longer do that because of the obligations of the city. I spent most of my time, effort, and money, my personal money, with the city because it was the right thing to do. You know, when you go to DC and you're out till 4 in the morning with all the rest of the dignitaries, the city's not picking up the tab for the $1,000 that I spent on drinks in DC. That I eat that cost. And why did I do that? Because you make those relationships, and those relationships pan out when it comes to needing something from somebody. You get to know those people. You don't get to know them in the 2 minutes of the meetings that you have. You get to know them with the time and effort that you spend in that you have to pay for out of your personal pockets. And so, to my family, they lost out on a lot. We didn't take family vacations for at least 3 years because of that scenario. And I want to thank my kids and my wife for that. I know it was hard hearing the rhetoric from kids at school and the community. They never acted like that they'd seen it, but I know that they did see it, and I know that it did affect them. You know, good and bad, but I appreciate them staying with me. My biggest supporter through this has been my wife and life partner, Claudia Vosburg. She has steered me to be a positive person and not fall into negativity. She was the person in my head telling me a phrase that her friend Pat had said at a CHUD board meeting. That phrase is, God don't like ugly. Pat, I said it. She wanted me to tell everybody. I try to run my life like that. Sometimes it's hard when I'm frustrated listening to uninformed citizens on Facebook, but it seems like all they exist is to stir the pot. I have learned that people have the right to their own opinion without debate from their elected officials. Sometimes it's just better to listen, and when you're talking, you're not listening. Claudia has taught me that. She also taught me so much, and that is the reason that I ran for council in the first place. She's been my biggest supporter and is one of the strongest women that I know. Many of the future agenda items and ideas that I brought forward came from her. I want to recognize Claudia Vosburg for always being there for me in the city. She was the one that had to deal with my late night arguments and phone calls from unhappy residents, and all the city events and things that I attended that took up all of my vacation time that was really hard on us. Thank you so much. Finally, I would like to thank the citizens of Coalinga, especially my supporters and those closest to me. I keep hearing, I thought you had won this by a landslide. You should never have gone to districts. You sealed your own fate. Well, maybe that's true. However, it was more important to me that the city did not get caught up in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So for everyone who said that we were doing this for our own benefit, anyone who knows me, I knew my district. I knew that the people in my district didn't support a lot of the issues that I supported. I told people this, and some of the residents said, "Oh, you guys are just gerrymandering this." There was no gerrymandering in this. In fact, I may be a victim of that circumstance, but you know what? I don't regret it at all. I'd do it again 100 times, because my goal is, it's for the city of Coalinga. And the best thing to do moving forward is what the law states and what keeps us out of lawsuits. And you know what? The whole time I was running, me and my running mate, we made a plea that we were not going to do any dirty politics to one another, and that we were going to stay above board, and that we were going to do that. And I tried my best, and I think he did a great job at making sure that we did that. Because I truly believe that new blood is a good thing for this city, and that new ideas move us forward, and that new people are what fuel the new blood. And I want to say I thank you so much for running, because without you running, I would have been stuck running again, and I would have been in council again. And the truth to be told, I almost went and took my papers on the 10th and said, I don't want to do this anymore. Marissa's like, I think you should run. And I'm like, ugh. Because I have an obligation to this city, and I wanted to make sure that things went well. And I had no idea that at that point in time that Ray was running. But I think he's going to do a great job. And I want everyone to give him the chance and opportunity that you gave me, and completely understand that as new council members, we're in a learning phase. We don't know anything off the bat. I mean, my first year in council, I maybe put 3 or 4 agenda items total, and I didn't know very much, and I just listened to what others said. You know, that's going to be the thing moving forward. And I think he's going to do a great job. I want to give a shout out to John Sunlight, the self-proclaimed Emperor of Coalinga. And you know, since I'm not actually up there right now, I can say that. Okay, lastly, I want to leave a message to the incoming council. Today we swore in the new council members of council, and I would like to congratulate each one of them on their victories. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you very much, because you know what? Not so many people want to run for these positions, because they are a thankless position. They really are. Coalinga council members get paid $300 a month, and we took away their benefits. So they don't even get that. And someone was saying a long time, hey, this is a volunteer position. No, it's not volunteer. I spend tons of my money, tons. There ain't nothing volunteer about that. You look at Fresno, their council members they just gave themselves a raise. I think they're getting $85,000 a year now to be a council member. Right. But this is what we can afford, and this is what our council members get. So I want everyone to look at these people up here and to understand that this is not a 1-day-a-week job. It's not a 2-day-a-month job. This is a huge job, and every time that they get called at 3 in the morning by someone that's angry or upset because they're the ones that they can get a hold of, that's a big deal, and it takes a lot of stress. I mean, I don't know, I've lost a lot of hair, and my hair just went gray, so I didn't start like this. I did start this skinny, and then I lost some weight, so that's cool. But it's a big deal. However, I would like to tell them, and I'm sure they know, that I'm not going anywhere. You may from time to time see me sitting in the audience, and I say this with all sincerity, but now that I'm on the other side of the fence, I will be holding each and one of you accountable, just like the rest of the residents do. My words of advice for the new people are, don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid. You got seasoned members up here. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Put something on there. If you think it needs change, put it on there. That's what it's for. You guys can talk about it. You'll discuss it. It'll be in the public side. That's what the future agenda is for. You were elected to lead this city, and it's important that you continue to build and keep a consensus moving forward. And what that means is we have a code of conduct, which means that when you guys are up here with each other, just because you don't like something that someone else says or some strategy that they don't like, the goal is to build consensus towards something that you guys can agree upon. And I don't think there was anything, not even one thing that I brought forward, including chickens, chickens, that we didn't get done. And it was a struggle. The struggle was real from our Mayor Pro Tem, Ramsey. And I keep hearing about this too, about how the chicken thing. So, but we did, we got through it, and it was amazing. So if we can get chickens done in Coalinga, and we can get cannabis done in Coalinga, we can do anything as long as you keep a consensus moving forward. And then for those that seek change, make sure you use and put forth future agenda items. During my time on council, I put forth over 60 items on the future agenda. That's where change happens. You want change to happen? Put it on the future agenda. It can come from the public to the council, and then the council to the dais, and that's how it works. So the public doesn't per se have a right to put the future agenda item on, but their goal is to get that item to you guys, and then have you guys put that on a future agenda. That's how this works. And I remember Terry coming in and saying, hey, nobody knows how this works. Nobody explained this, so I'm doing my job to explain this, how this works for the new people. This is exactly how it goes. Put something on as a future agenda item. Talk to city staff. City staff is there to aid and to guide you into what would that agenda item look like. Now, as council members, you're not in charge of city staff, except for you're in charge as a whole of Marissa. But that doesn't mean you can't go to people like Sean and Jasmine and Pete and ask questions. That way you do your due diligence before you bring it up here on the dais, and then you see it fail, and the reason it fails is because one of them has a reason why it's not going to pass for sure, like some kind of legal issue. So you do that first. Then you bring it to Marissa and ask her what she thinks. You don't have to, but I suggest doing that. That way you'll be caught off guard. And then you guys will discuss it, and then in front of the public, this is how things get done, and then council votes, and then everything is transparent in the public, and that's how this works. And I'm sorry that we never explained that, and that there was not a mechanism to do that, but that's how it goes. Remember, you are in the public eye almost 100% of the time. Your private lives are not public. I learned that. There's nothing that people will not put on Clean Citizens about you. They will take a picture of you doing anything that they seem fit. Some people will follow you and take pictures of you, and it's completely allowed. And the law for harassment on council members and people like that is different, because you are a public official and you should be able to take it. And that's what I've been told. So, buck up. Gonna have to learn to take it. And what I would ask for the new members is that you're accessible to the public, and that includes attending city events and always remembering that you are promoting this city even in hard times. Even in the hardest of times ever, when someone says something bad about you online, or someone does this or this, how you respond is how the city looks. And that's how we have, people from other councils even come here and tell us about different things that we're doing. Amazingly enough, that person has had their own issues. And they have stuff going on. So this is not just our council where we have things that, go back and forth. This is a thing, you have to learn how to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is to be positive, and the things that you don't like and you can't change, you just accept them, unfortunately. Everything that you have from social media, from council meetings, that all affects the city as you represent us. With our new districts in place, it is now more important than ever that you not only represent your district, but the city as a whole. Remember, the same people that voted you in can remove you as well. And now that we're in districts, it's only a district-wide vote to get rid of you. Beforehand, it was actually pretty darn hard to get a recall done. Now, look at what, I think under 600 people voted in some of the places. You only have to get, 20% of that vote, 25 signatures to start off the process. So I'm also telling everyone else how this works, you know, so be good, be kind to your city, that way the citizens are kind to you. I wish you all the best of luck on your journey, and I hope that you continue to grow this industry that we have brought forward, and most important, keep a vision alive. And it doesn't have to be a cannabis vision, it can be any vision. But whatever you do, I would highly suggest not abandoning the cannabis ship. We've already brought in around $7 million off of that. $3 million or so that the city split with all the rest of the agencies. The other 4 got us out of debt because people are wondering, well, we brought in $7 million, where's the money at? There it is. There's no extra money. We paid off our initial debt. The rest of the agencies got most of the money. The city got, you know, a minimal amount. But that's okay, because that's how it works. And we're still in the process of doing things. And I have no doubt that this council will continue to move these things forward. We've seen positive results. Don't abandon the ship. Keep sailing into the future. And with that, I would just like everyone to give a round of applause to our new council members and to welcome and thank them.